guys, welcome aboard. It's me, Professor Lopez, along with my little teaching assistant right here. She's not moving right now. I guess I wore her out. We did an hour workout earlier this morning. But what I wanted to do today is I wanted to show you where I added a couple of different things. There were a couple of assignments that I noticed that were in a different file format. And what I did is I replaced them and I swapped them out. So I wanted to show you guys where they were and walk you through how to do them. So you have some assignments that are going to be due this coming Sunday before midnight. And again, I just want to show you where they are. Quite a few of you guys have gotten pretty far into Unit 2, starting to go into Unit 3. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity to kind of double back to show you that one kind of alternative assignment, since I wasn't able to fix the calendar the way I wanted to. It just didn't cooperate. All right, sounds good. So let's go ahead and we'll get to it. Okay, so as you know, I'm gonna go to Google Chrome and I'm gonna go over to my TCC. And then I'll go to the information for our class. I'm going to use the first class as an example. And then under lessons, this time, so you know, this weekend we've got units 2, 3, and 4 that we want to go ahead and try to knock out. And then you'll start working on the next 3 units over the next 2 weeks. And then we'll finish out unit 8 going into that last week of May. So we click on Unit 2, Time Management. It walks you through some of the information. So there's a presentation here that was already there. A couple of different PDF. This is a PDF version of it in case you can't get Prezis to work. There's some additional videos on managing your time. So a couple of different things that you can kind of test run and see what works for you. There's a time management form on here. So what you're going to do is you save this assignment, shoot that over to me via email. This is a time management form. This is a Word document, so you're actually able to type on it. And then these two right here, in this case, I know that this is a PDF, and I know you're supposed to print it out. I know not everybody has access to a printer right now. Don't drive out and go try to find a printer. You don't have to do all that. So if you don't have access to a printer and you cannot print or type on this version, then you can skip this part and do the alternative version of the assignment. So what I did is I created an Excel document. If you're using a Mac, it should open in Sheets. You should also be able to use Google Docs and use the web-based version too. So I did the newest version of Microsoft Excel, and then I also saved it in compatibility mode. That means you do not have to do both of these charts, just pick one. And again, if you want to do this version of it up here, that's fine too. I would say whichever version makes the most sense for you. Okay? So let's take a look at what the Excel sheet looks like. I want to make sure you guys can actually see it the way I actually saved it. Okay, so Office Excel 365. See what I'm doing. Oh, you know what? I'm on tab 3. How about I go to the first tab? There we go. Okay, so I got it over to year 2020, week 2, where you can track the time that you're doing for approximately 1 week. So on this tab here, this first tab, you're going to project or plan your activities for 1 week. So what do you think you're going to be doing? What are you planning to do? Okay, so that's what that one is. And what you're going to see is on each one of these, it has like a little drop down menu when you click in the little the cell, and you can select your item. Also, what you can do is you can actually drag and drop. So if you know that you're not getting up to like 8 o'clock in the morning, then you can fill like that. So you don't have to click every individual little box. I want to make sure you knew that. And then if you know, oh, I'm gonna sleep in until 10 on Monday or something. Don't choose the activity, right? See, and then you see the little square down there. Drag, drop it down. Boom. There you go. There's the time that you are still in bed. And choose your activity that kind of corresponds with what you're most likely to do. And then if there's something on here that you engage in that's not included in those particular fields, then you can just put other. Okay, so this one, remember, sheet 1 is planned. Sheet 2, it looks almost exactly the same. This is what you actually do. So what you're going to do each day is you're going to record the actual activities that you do. So for example, you could have said, I planned to sleep until 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, but that didn't happen, right? Something happened. I don't know. Kids woke you up, the car alarm went off, the dog started barking. In my case, I live out in the middle of nowhere. There's this random rooster that starts crowing. So, you know, instead of waking up at 8 o'clock, maybe you woke up at 6:30. And then you put that in there. And then what it's going to actually do is on tab number 3, it's going to actually compare. So you may have scheduled X number of hours of sleep for the week, but you only got 30 minutes in this case, right? Just based on what I just put. So the difference between what you said you were going to do and what you actually did is going to reflect itself in column 3, which is the column E. And that way you're able to kind of see where your time is going. So what you see here is this 1 week represents 168 hours. So that's 24 hours times 7, approximately 168 hours. I am aware that, you know, in a lot of cases we multitask, like I will do family time plus watch TV plus cook at the same time. So if you go over 168 hours, that's fine. We just want to see if you're under, if you hit it spot on, or if you're living in next week and you go over. I think the highest I've seen somebody do is they hit about 260. And the people that are normally hitting that 230 range are my new moms, the ones that have newborns at home because they're doing 3 or 4 things at one time while they're carrying the baby. So a lot of times they're like way off into next week and stuff. I'm like, how's next week? Oh, it's fine. The weather's great, you know, kind of a thing. So that's the gist of how to do this activity. Don't forget to save it. Save it as your name, save it as which class you're in, because remember I have more than one. Transitions to college success class. And then what I'll do is I will get that graded and update it for you. Also keep a copy for yourself, so then that way you really have a good visual representation of what you do and how you spend your time. Okay? So in this case I'm not going to save it. And I think, oh yeah, down here. The test preparation PDF, you don't necessarily have to print it. You can make your own version of it if you'd like. Since it's just 5 days. You'll have a discussion board, which I've already seen some of them that are coming in. So I'll start responding and getting those graded for y'all. And then I added my chapter 4 PowerPoint. So remember, prior to when class started, I did mention that we have a textbook for the course. I only heard from the people who were not able to retrieve the textbook. I didn't hear from a single person in any of the classes that actually confirmed that they were able to get it. But going forward with my classes that I'm going to have start this summer and in the fall, we're going back to the book, or that at least is the plan, if we can actually get the books to ship, or I can actually get the TCC Plus thing to work. I did that before the holidays last year, and apparently it doesn't look like it worked, even though I had the textbook people on the phone with me. So there is some information on here that I think will be helpful to you. Just remember, a lot of times I'm referencing some things from the textbook, But for the most part, the information is still relevant to what you're doing. And during this time when I recorded this video, this is when I was still working in graduate school. So remember, I was a full-time academic advisor with the occasional weekend shift. I was teaching anywhere between 6 to 8 classes every 8 weeks. And then I was going to graduate school full-time. And at this time, I did not know that full-time graduate school was 2 classes. And my brilliant self decided to enroll in 3, which is more than full-time. And these classes were accelerated. We went for 10 weeks, we were off for 2 weeks, and then boom, you hit it again. You go for another 10 weeks. So technically, you could finish that whole degree in 1 year. 12 classes, steamroll through it, you're done. I learned very quick 2 is my limit, especially with having 20-page papers due for each class every week and final projects that were about 40 pages. So imagine writing 40 pages for 3 classes and you got a week to do it. So about 120 pages worth of work to crank out in a week. You'd be surprised what you can do. I learned 20 pages is my limit in a day. I can write a 20-page paper in 1 day. Give me some coffee and stuff like that and let me roll. I don't drink a whole lot of coffee though. I'm naturally hyper, so it works for about an hour, and then after that I'm all over the place. Okay, you should start seeing those grades come in for a couple of the assignments. So there's a couple of them that came in a little bit late, so I'm gonna circle back around and put those in for you. But I know everybody who turned in, let's say like their scavenger hunt, for example, you should have received an email letting you know that it was graded. And then, especially if I did receive your joke that you were supposed to email to me, if I didn't receive it, then I put it in the grading description that, hey, I have everything but this one part. So typically if I'm missing something, I will tell you. So check your TCC email. That way you'll know that what you're missing. So my next thing that I'm going to be doing is working on your journals. Probably while I'm on call tonight. I'm on call on chat all the way until 10 o'clock p.m. So I'm going to be working pretty late tonight. And then I think Thursday night I got to work until 10 as well. Okay. Which means if you guys need anything, holler at me. I will be up. Okay. So that's the gist of what I added there. Oh yeah, and with the PowerPoints, this is the actual PowerPoint itself if you want to look at the slides. This is the YouTube video link. So I opened up the PowerPoints and I did a voiceover over them. So since this is going to launch in YouTube, it is mobile friendly. So you can use it on your laptop, you can use it on your phone. You should be able to open it from your tablet as well. Okay. Let's go and look at Unit 3 really quick. Personal finance and financial aid. Ah, yes. So there's PowerPoint, activity on creating a budget, financial aid information, and then there's a quiz on financial aid as well. Now I do have an activity that I'd like to do, either via Microsoft Teams or Blackboard Collaborate. I added all of y'all to Microsoft Teams. In my face-to-face classes, we normally do a game that's called the Game of Life, which is like a mashup between Monopoly and the old school board game Life, where you pick out your family. You have to create a monthly budget, and then you pick the little slips that represent the community chests and the chance cards from Monopoly. The yellow cards and the orange cards. So it could be something that's really good. Congratulations, somebody in your family graduated and earned a master's degree. Increase your family budget by this much money. Or congratulations, you're having another baby. Oh, your in-laws' house burned down and they have to move in, but they're receiving Social Security, so budget for that. So there's one of the cars breaks down. There's all sorts of stuff that can happen. So I say if it doesn't have a rule for it, when you look at the information, and again, I'll put this up for you guys, then what you can do is be creative with it based on your income bracket. So think about what your what you would actually do in that particular situation. And then what you'll also see is, like I said, the family profiles, what they're going to do is they'll give you your yearly income. So you're going to have to divide that information by 12 off top to get what your monthly income is going to be. We have some samples in there that give you like what your sample rent or mortgage would look like, your electric bill, your food budget for each person, things like that. But those of you guys that have your own place, which most of y'all do in the night, the weekend, and the online classes, you can use your own budget. And then remember, you got to decide where you're going to live, because remember, even in different parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, your money gets you different things. What I'll also probably do through either Blackboard Collaborate or or Microsoft Teams is an activity that's called Texas Reality Check. So that's a web-based activity, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of work on that as well together. And that one's actually pretty eye-opening. It's actually pretty neat because you get to see kind of what the cost of living is in some of the different major cities across the state of Texas. So you start backwards. What you do is you start at zero. You start with your rent or mortgage, you add in your utilities, add in your food budget, add in your transportation budget, your clothing budget, all these different types of things. You get down to the end, add if you have children or not, your savings. And then what it's going to do is it's going to total all that up, and it's going to give you an estimate of how much money you need to make to sustain that lifestyle, which means you may have to rethink what you were planning to do. You need to double check and make sure what you're studying is going to sustain your lifestyle, or you need to make some decisions about said lifestyle. Maybe you can't live in that neighborhood that you thought you were going to live in, or you need a second job. You need to cut some expenses somewhere. So that's why they call it reality check. There's 4 different cities in Dallas-Fort Worth. So Dallas proper is on there, Fort Worth is on there, Arlington is on there, and Plano is on there. So think about that when you do the activity, whether you're going to be in the city, if you're going to be in the suburbs, or if you're going to be out in a rural area like I am. I'm all the way out in Kaufman County, so my money stretches just a little bit further out here. That's what we got all the way out. And I think that's something that you guys can probably do. You can do it in small groups if you like. You can probably do it by yourself. You can do it with some family members. If y'all want to like record it and post, okay, here's what happened with our 2 activities. You're welcome to do that. I think it'd be pretty entertaining for us. Okay. And then there is lesson 4. Learning preferences, note taking, and test taking. So there's unit 4. Here's the VART questionnaire. So this is going to tell us what your learning style is. So this is how you learn. Are you a visual learner? Do you learn by seeing things? Or, like, do you learn by color association, for example? I have a lot of students, like when they take their notes, their vocabulary is in this color, and then their definitions are in this color. Are you an oral learner or auditory learner? Do you learn by listening? So do you do well with lecture? Are you one of the people that needs to record your classes? In certain classes, I needed to record, and my professors were pretty good with that. I always just asked them. I was like, "Can I record this so I'll remember it?" I always did that in my Spanish classes. And then, do you learn by reading and writing? So you could be that person that retains information by actually taking notes and writing it down. Or you could be like me, a kinesthetic or a tactile learner. So we learn by touch. We're the ones that probably won't read the instructions for anything. We just jump in and we do it, and we're like, oh, look, this wire, this one's yellow, that's yellow too. Plug it in, let's see what happens. Yeah, that's how I put together my Nintendo when I was 5. Parents told me to wait, and I just matched up all the colors. I came upstairs, I was already playing it. This is back in like 1990. And they're like, how'd you figure it out? Did you read the instructions? No, this wire was red, this one was yellow. Figured it out myself. And I'm notorious for that. If y'all see me in the classroom, and some of our buildings are new and they have all these like everything's like touchscreen and all these little buttons now, and I think I didn't read anything that was on the podium. I just pushed all the buttons. I was like, oh look, the blinds open. How do we close them? I was in there like pushing all these buttons. So we got it to work. Also, with kinesthetic or tactile learners, we learn by teaching others. So if you sit there and you tell it to me, it will probably go one ear and out the other. But if you're talking me through it and I'm having to actively do the activity, so this is in a school setting and in a workplace setting, then chances are after that first time, I got it. I could replicate those results with no problem because I have to, it takes a different level of understanding, because it's one thing to process it and then it's another thing to try to turn around and explain it to somebody else or show them how to do it. So that's where I'm at, and I noticed that mine changed as I got older. So when I was in undergrad the first time, between the ages of 18 and 22, I learned one way. For my classes that were taught in English, I favored one learning style. For my classes that were taught in Spanish, because I had a bunch of them, then I noticed I favored a different learning style because I was learning that second language as an adult. Then when I started graduate school, back in 2016, I think I was like 30 or 31. So there had been a gap in that time that I had gone to school. And I noticed that I had all these conflicting interests and things like that. It's like, I've got to pay my bills. I got to pay my car note. I got to do this. I got to do that. So all this stuff is swirling in your head. I have to do this stuff for work. I have to grade all these papers for classes because I signed up to teach all these classes, not thinking that, whoops, I got to actually study myself. So I had to really figure out how to balance those things. It took probably through the first semester before I got a system down. So it's kind of one of those things that it will come back to you. It's just a matter of you got to do a little bit of trial and error. And the biggest mistake I think I made was I was trying to do the same things I did when I was 18, and they don't work anymore. Not with my kind of mid-30s mind. It just doesn't work anymore. So you gotta be willing to kind of change up a little bit and test run some stuff. And that's the kind of the purpose of this class. We're trying to give you guys some tools of different things that work for you. Some things will work, some things won't, but that's okay. We want to make sure that you're equipped with at least something, especially as you get into these more advanced and more specific classes. So you're not just going in there and you don't have anything. Okay. And then there's some videos on some note-taking strategies. I'll probably record one or two myself to kind of show you guys one of the strategies I like doing in my face-to-face classes. I'll try to squeeze it in tonight while I'm on call. And then you'll go ahead and send this to me as well. Don't worry about that. And then you've got your discussion board. Oh, okay, and then here's your test taking video that I did right here. Okay, so I'll probably do a separate one, a separate like shorter video on annotations. And what I'll do is I'll probably send you guys the information for that. And that's the gist of what's going to be due this weekend. Like ideally we want to try to get it in this weekend so that way you have enough time to do the next 3 units over the next 2 weeks. And again, I'm trying to finish you guys just a little bit early. So we've got some breathing room just in case something comes up, you know, things come up with work, kids get sick, people fall ill, emergencies happen. So I'm trying to give us a little bit of room toward things just in case something goes wrong. Which so far seems like everything is sailing through pretty smoothly. That also gives me time to grade some of your stuff because a lot of your assignments are writing assignments, so it takes me a while to get through them. But I do want to make sure I give you meaningful feedback instead of just thank you or good job. Okay. All right. So that is the gist of what's going to be due this weekend. Stay tuned. Check your announcements Like I said, I'll probably send you guys some invites for either a Blackboard Collaborate session or a Microsoft Teams session. Gotta see which software platform works the best. And then what we'll do is we'll roll from there. I also got some information that I have from our vice presidents that I want to send out. So the last thing I sent you guys was some of the stuff that we were trying to help people with if they don't have computer access or internet access. So for you or a family member, let us know so we can try to get you guys some devices. We do have some. We just got to get them to you. And then there's some additional resources that my vice president at my campus has also sent out that she'd like to share. Also, don't forget that the tutoring labs are open virtually. So the math department does have virtual tutoring sessions that you can go into through Blackboard Collaborate. The Writing Center is doing stuff virtually. The Career Center. So if you need a career services referral, let me know. I do have those. And that way, if you know, I know some people are being impacted by, you know, getting laid off and different things like that, or furloughed. But we're seeing jobs open up in other areas and other sectors. So if you need somebody to look at your resume, go over your cover letter with you, help you apply for those jobs, our 5 career services offices are available to assist you with that as well. So just let me know. I will get you what you need and I will connect you with the right people, all right? And then there's also a Tutor 24/7. A lot of times people forget about this one. That's right here. So it's going to launch through the Smart Thinking website, and that one, you can use it pretty much any time of day. It's just if you're going to submit a paper for, let's say, like your English class or speech class or something like that, you want to make sure you submit it well before the due date. Give them at least 2 or 3 days, so that way they have time to actually go over it with you. There's no guarantee that they would be able to get to it the same day. Okay, so I was told at least, in a normal situation, give them at least 24 hours lead time. Now that everybody's at home, I would plan on a couple of days to at least have them proof it and go through it with you, okay? All right, guys, that's all I got. So from my family to yours, y'all stay safe and take it easy, all right? Take care of each other. Bye.